Hello, hello, everyone. It is your girl, Jeanette the Oracle. Welcome, welcome. All right, get myself set up here. So welcome to Oracle Talks. If you are joining me live and watching this in the moment, happy spring equinox. But these are going to be timeless messages, even though it is spring equinox, but happy spring equinox to those that are watching me live now. Welcome to folks who might be joining from Instagram or on YouTube. Right now, I am actually streaming live on YouTube. I'm doing my best to toggle between both platforms since I have folks who watch in both places. But yeah, hopefully everybody is doing well. As you can see from the description below, the intention for today's messages are to specifically be in counsel with the tree kingdom, and specifically be in conversation with Asher trees, or ash trees, not Asher, ash trees, elder, and Magnolia. So those are the three that I'm intending to connect with today. We'll see how it goes with time. But anyway, as you're coming in, please do comment and let us know where you are joining from, what you are sipping on, etc. I'm finishing up a little cafe au lait. And I'm joining from beautiful sunny California. And feeling good. So glad that spring is here. So glad. This winter season has definitely been interesting, to say the least. All right, so as you come in and join, just settle in, take a few deep breaths, allow yourself to really come and center into self, connect and align and come into energetic coherence with your soul and your core star essence, your soul star essence. Now, one of the things I've been talking about in the last few weeks is in reference to the new Maya that's in place and it's available for us for connecting to and for embodiment. That essentially is the energetic foundation, if you will, for, for this new world. So I'm calling it New Maya in the sense that it's probably more readily apparent to this particular wave that is encountering it, but it has been there, and there have been waves of us that have encountered it beforehand, and there are those of us who are experiencing now, and then those who will be coming after who will experience it later, right? So it really is just going to depend, which is another reason why, it's a lot of the messages have been timely, but also timeless, because they're going to be relevant depending on what's going on with your life. So I encourage you to share, in particular, the most recent Oracle Talks messages for those around you who may be having these kind of similar experiences, maybe later on this year or next year or in a few years to come. And I pray that it blesses their life as it blesses yours and mine. So with the tree kingdom in particular, they have been around for millions and millions of years in the early stages of Earth. They've the consciousness, the energy field, the divine intelligence that they are, has been present through all the cycles and experiences of Earth and of all that have lived on the Earth, whether human or not, from the smallest organisms, mushrooms, bacteria, earthworms, bees, beetles, birds, whatever, to large mammals like us, or elephants, or even the dinosaurs. So we give thanks for the presence of these ancients who are here with us and around us and have been with us and around us for as long as we've existed and who have been here longer. And so we are specifically coming into this time now of council, of communication, of communion to, that at the the foot of the elders, if you will, that at the foot of the ancients, and really as the children that we are as humans, our souls might be just as ancient, but in terms of the human perspective, we would definitely be children to these elders. So we give thanks for this opportunity to connect. During this time while we are here, I welcome in and forth the power and the presence of the spirits of the directions and the elements, as well as our individual beneficial ancestors in heaven and earth, as well as our individual personal guardian angels and protectors, as well as the archangels of light, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, and Archangel Uriel. Please set and hold a sacred container for our individual protection. Help us to balance our energy field so that we are more in alignment with our true soul nature, our true soul star essence nature. Also, so that we are protected during this time of sacred communion and ease our ability to receive this communication, the messages, and the divine energy flow that supports our highest and greatest good in a way that is easy for us to comprehend and understand. I pray that for all of us. So the deck I have right now that I'm shuffling, that I'm getting a primary card from, is the Secret Language of Light deck by Denise Jarvie. I don't know who the illustrator is. Oh, artwork by Daniel Holman. But I'm going to use this as an oracle card just to attune to the Tree Kingdom specifically. And then I'm actually going to be pulling cards from my decks, or a couple of my decks, to get the messages from Ash, Elder, and Magnolia. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Jazz Sims. Got Water and joining from the UK. Welcome. So it's probably, it's evening for you over in UK, so welcome. Great to see you. We have Mary Lou Mandel. Happy to catch you all live. Oh, yay. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Hope everybody's doing well. Okay, so messages are ready to come through, so let me get this. So I'm going to pull a card again to attune to the energy signature more clearly, since I'm getting 3 different messages, and I don't, beyond personal, I don't really work with tree medicine with the public much, but oh, beautiful card. So I'll put this up close. This one is called You Are the Universe. Card number 29, that breaks down to 11. So those of you that are into numerology might geek off of that. But I love this visual. It's like, I don't know if you can see at the bottom, there's 2 people down there. One seems to be showing or indicating to the other what lies ahead, or the truth beyond the clouds, the reveal there. And it's saying you are the universe. So I love, 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 love that. Listen, that might just be the message. All right. So we're going to start with actually, we'll get messages from all 3, but I'll be doing them in sections. So the first message will be just in general, their perspective on the human soul collective. And then after that will be the perspective on the collective at this time. And then last set of messages will be insights around embodiment through these shifts and changes. Okay. So I'll get a card for each for the first. So in general, their perspective on the human soul collective, the cycles and changes that they go through, their nature, whatever it is that they want to relay at this time. Okay, so from the ash tree, we have the magician card. From elder tree, we have seven of wands. I'm waiting for Magnolia. Um, we might have to get two from Magnolia. 1 second. I've been trying to get only one, but let me just check real quick. Okay, so I do need to get two. So 1 second, I'll just go with what came through originally then. Okay. All right. So, hello, folks coming in. Okay, so for Magnolia, we have the King of Pentacles and the Justice card. All right, so these messages are again are in general about their perspective on the human soul collective. So with the Magician here with Ash, the sense I'm getting with this is there's a distinct thing that's coming through about our ability in general to make ourselves as we see fit. Like there's a level of creativity and adaptability that we have. that is not specifically limited to stimuli from the outside environment. Like there's an ability to consciously express um, something different here. And even saying that, it's interesting to think about because, yeah, the trees themselves don't really do that. Like their differentiation comes out of um, their expression comes out of their interaction with the environment and being able to survive. So it's very much interrelational, which is also true for us, but we also have the ability to um, show up differently or choose different aspects of our nature, um, regardless of environmental stimuli, but stimuli nonetheless, but it's an internal stimuli, desire of our souls. So the word that Ash is leaving me with is adaptability, but not just in the sense of evolution, but also of creativity and creation. Very nice. Um, is this for all of us or some more specific about a missing explanation? Oh, it's for all of us. Yeah, it's for all. I may actually, depending on how quickly these messages go, I may do individual messages at the end if folks have specific questions. Um, so if so, folks can have my info for donations at the bottom. But yeah, these are messages for all. Um, sorry. Yeah, these are messages for all. Okay, so for elder, we have the Seven of Wands. This is actually giving me the vibe of how do I say this? I have visuals and feelings, but trying to convert that to words. It's kind of like all of these different living beings, if you will, life, consciousness, etc., um, that essentially braid into or are components to the crafting of us in human form. It's like we don't obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but we don't exist independent of the rest of the world. Like we necessarily are um, descendants of marriages, if you will, of species over time that have evolved and have grown and adapted, so that this thing called the human species could arise. Um, but that there's a deep, um, almost interspecies relationship that has cultivated our ability to be here. Not just other mammals, not just, you know, other reptiles, um, but also plants and, you know, microbes, viruses, etc. Like all of that goes into making us who we are. Um, and so it's like this this container that is the human soul, um, I'm actually getting the phrase time capsule. We are all and we are one, even though we are also unique and individual. But yeah, it's who we are as part of a thread, a threading, a weaving that has been going on for a long time. We didn't just like pop in and get dropped in. I feel like some of us need to know that and hear that and be reminded of that. All right. I think that's it for elder. So that goes physically as this goes physically as well as with consciousness. If we still have more, hold on. So we are not separate, even though at times we may feel separate. Again, we are descendants of many. And so when we speak in communication with others, and that can be more broadly non earth based others, but also with one another or even with other members of nature kingdoms. Um, if we're speaking with others that are non earth based others, we are speaking as the all that we are birthed from, descendant of, um, whether that's positive, neutral, or negative. And with others around us in our world, humans or plants or animals, we are essentially talking to our family, distant relatives, in varying degrees because we're going to have affinities for certain things depending on how our soul has crafted us. I'm almost getting the sense of like, if anyone's going to be in relationship with planet Earth and its inhabitants, it's necessarily going to have to be through us because of this collectiveness of our nature. and the immensity of our global ideas and ideals, um, if they feel overwhelming, can be mitigated by really learning and understanding about the ecosystem that trees exist in, how much they are connected to, the communication that they have, etc. Because the scale is huge. And there's certain qualities that they, at least in terms of consciousness, but also in physical embodiment, embody in order to be able to do so effectively, which is also why they've been around for so long. And we have the capability to emulate that consciousness, even with our seemingly apparent differences, because obviously there's different types of trees, just as there are different, well, there's humans with different values and beliefs. We're not actually at that place yet of like there being different species of humans, like there are different species of trees. That hasn't happened yet. Yet. Oh, well, I'm hearing, interesting. For those who might have an affinity to this, let me know if it resonates. But I'm feeling like, well, not feeling, there were others. Um, and they became or were relegated to what we would consider to be fictional characters, like the dwarves and the elves and things like that. Um, but they're not fictional. Distant cousins that took on different forms. Interesting. Anybody who here is watching live had an affinity to elves or um, fairies or anything like that? Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Let me know if you do have a specific question for yourself. I can definitely provide that for you. Interesting. Elder feels like a great one to connect with if, again, you're more global minded and are really thinking about systems change and things like that. Let's see, Seta says definitely fairies. Yeah, okay, so let me know if that resonates. Jazz, it resonates for you. Awesome. Okay, cool. It's not something that has popped up for me before, so it definitely is interesting to have that message come through. But hearing it though and feeling into it, I'm like, oh yeah, that does kind of make sense because anytime I've ever seen them in the spirit, um, they definitely have been like humanoid. And then what I know, at least like anthropologically, um, like the early ancestors of human sapiens over the last like 1 or 2 million years, I'm like, oh, I could see because there were different branches off of that. I'm like, oh yeah, that would actually make sense. Scientifically, that actually would make sense. Love that is come through today. Awesome, yeah. Well, I bow to those of you who already have, those stronger connections and work with those folks regularly if that's all news to you. I appreciate this coming through for me, so I know. Okay, is that it for Elder? Elder was talking. um, Let me see if that's it. Yeah, that's it for Elder. Okay. All right, so Magnolia is next. And we have King of Pentacles with Justice. So this one was adamant. Magnolia was adamant about having two. So I decided to go with the first two that came out because I kept trying to just get one and it wasn't happening. So this is what originally came out. So Magnolia's general perspective on the human soul collective. I was called by the trees to tend to my back garden today and had a convo about how the surrounding trees have been supporting this one tree that has been hurting. Really telling me that the tree's wisdom is coming through today. Oh, beautiful. Why is that one tree been hurting? Is it like dealing with insect or like a fungus? I'm curious. Thank you for sharing. This is interesting. What I'm getting off of the King of Pentacles is, well, actually both King of Pentacles and Justice, but King of Pentacles specifically is we we are able to, we don't necessarily always, but we are able to provide new experiences for the rest of the nature kingdoms, of experience and expression, of being in community and connection with others. What's kind of coming through is like plants being able to like be brought in a home or be curated and grown in a certain way and possibly be able to live longer because the environment is made in such a way that they're not constantly fighting for survival against like, insects and things like that. Um, Being in different climates and different parts of the world because, maybe they're getting shipped to different places, etc. Um, Same thing with animals. It's like they're also getting to experience new things and having new expressions. And that's one of the things that we do that we don't realize that we do. Like the agriculture, purposeful cultivation, plant or animal or otherwise. Um, that provides new experiences. And also with the justice cards, same thing for the spirit, if you will. It's a vehicle for spirit to have embodied in differing experiences. And it's interesting, like the immensity and multiplicity of non-physical intelligence, of consciousness, um, essentially needs the mirroring of collective consciousness in the physical form. For example, through human bodies, uh, to be able to express, because it's not just us. We, again, are a collective descendant of many. So we ourselves are a we. And so spirit in its immensity as a soul, as a core star essence, its multidimensionality, um, and as expressions through all time spaces, has an ability to experience new things in the physical because of us. Again, because we are actually a collective consciousness. This is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Hello, Soul Family. Drinking water in Florida. Come through Florida, my home state. Let's see, years ago, my neighbor had planted this type of tree. I'm not too sure what it is, but it's so overgrown and being strangled by it. Wooden vines are growing all over it and have broken leaf branches. Ooh. Yeah, we do not like an invasive species. That sounds like that's what that is. Ooh, this is fascinating. I feel like I'm getting so much tea with this conversation. The spirits trees right now. That's really beautiful. Really beautiful and fascinating. Okay. So again, there is also a spiritual collective that expresses through us, which for me makes sense because I would call that the soul aspects, as well as like fundamental spiritual essences, like air, fire, water, earth, the metals, and all that. Fascinating. Okay. Let's see. I have a question about the non-human ancestors. Why are we so far removed from them now? As in, why are they just myth in today's society? Um, well, some are removed for them, some aren't. I think that would be, I mean, there's a lot of layers to that. So on one hand, um, every culture has different communities that they may or may not have been in connection with. Um, so, like, I don't necessarily get the sense that dwarves existed everywhere. I don't get the sense that fairies exist everywhere, um, or elves exist everywhere. Like, I think that may be more regional. Um, yeah, same with like dragon energy. So I think it really is more so regional, first off. And I think people who are in areas where there is a just naturally have been a high concentration, like they're not necessarily removed from that. Um, so that's one thing. Another thing is also depending on where you live, if you are at a place where there are um, strong earth meridians, folks will use the terminology ley lines, but you know, if there's more of those present and or crisscrossing, then your heightened senses will be more perceptive and you'll be able to perceive those as well. But if you're in a place where that's not necessarily the case, then that's going to play into that. Um, and then of course, like it's not even so much that you're necessarily that folks might be necessarily removed if there are a lot there, but culturally, if the belief systems have um, been diverted away from more nature-based relating, um, i.e., like have not been impacted by colonialism, then that's going to play into that. Yeah, so the things that are considered myths are really going to be relating to whoever is the ruling class or ruling culture. And if you actually like look, it's not that they don't have necessarily beliefs in certain things, but what they're doing is imposing beliefs on um, what they are connected to or have been connected to, and pushing out beliefs or relationships really um, with what is actually natural to the environment and the culture that was there before they came. So, you know, in particular with Christianity, there will be a predominance of angel uh, focus. But for the places where Christianity was brought in, there definitely was a lot more connection to trees, a lot more connection to uh, animal spirits, and you know the rest. So colonialism, imperialism, capitalism, um, and some religions. So the Abrahamic religions, but also I'd probably say actually the Buddhists and some of the quote unquote Hindu religions as well, to be honest. Again, like whoever essentially is in power. um, yeah, so I say that to say though, it still is just a perception because just because there's a lack of use of a thing doesn't mean that the thing doesn't exist. So as we develop ourselves personally and spiritually, oftentimes those connections start to come online, and then you realize like, oh, they've always been there, and it feels like a homecoming, right? They're like, oh, you're back, and like it's like the conversation picks back up where it left off. So yeah, and that honestly, like if you've been on the spiritual path for a while, like that's the case. It's like once you really start to get into it and like you start to connect with the rest of your spiritual family and team and the world around you, it's just like that's the persistent message is you are not alone and you've never been alone. And it's just, your perception is not open to that because your perception to yourself as your true self is actually what opens up. That perception is not going to open up through the fight with systems. And that's the thing that should give you hope, because you don't have to wait for capitalism to fall, for, corporate greed and fascism and all that to fall before you actually have access to the truth of your soul and access to the relationships that are there. Like you actually can access it before that because it's not dependent on that. It may be delayed, it may have been delayed, but it's not actually destroyed. So it's part of your birthright because it's literally woven into the nature of your being. So you don't actually have to wait for conditions outside to be right for you to reclaim your inheritance. So it doesn't need to be far removed anymore. And you don't need to use the outside world as an excuse for that. I'm not saying you specifically, just like in general, for whoever's watching, like you don't actually have to use it as an excuse. And once you start realizing like a lot of things you don't actually have to wait for outside permission for, start really getting your power back. I knew it, but it's so upsetting to hear. Right. Listen, so many ills is due to capitalism and racism and misogyny. Hello, folks coming in. All right, so let me try to get through more of these messages sooner rather than later because my battery's running low on my laptop. And yeah. So let's get to the next set of messages, which are going to be perspective on what's going on for this now. In particular, this wave, this current wave of the human soul collective, aligning, connecting, energetically connecting with New Maya. If you want to know what I'm referring to with that, you can check the links I have in the description. I did an Oracle Talks on New Maya recently. So let's get that. So again, we're getting messages from the trees, the tree kingdom, specifically Ash. I keep wanting to call it Asher, but it's Ash, Elder, and Magnolia. Magnolia itself is literally one of the oldest tree species on the planet. They were around before the bees. So it's like the elder of all the other ones as well. 9 of Cups for the ash tree. Welcome to new folks coming in. Let us know where you're joining from, what you're sipping on, if anything. For Elder Tree, we have Hermit and 10 of Cups. We have 2 9 energies so far, and then we have 9 of Cups followed by 10 of Cups. Both of those are Pisces energy. And of course, the Hermit is a It's a Virgo card. And then for Magnolia, we have the sun. Beautiful. I'm joining from North Dakota and sipping on rooibos chai tea. Ooh, interesting. Welcome, welcome from North Dakota. I think you're the first North Dakota person who's coming live, at least that has announced that. So welcome. Alrighty. So Nine of Cups for the Ash Tree regarding feeling so collective at this time right now. Yeah, this is actually feeling like that new Maya energy. Essentially a new field. A new field of creation for us. Yeah, it feels like very light. It feels like this is representative of what it feels like that we have available to create from. But also feels like things are a lot more pliable. Mm. Okay, one more thing in particular with this, it's important. I'm getting that there's like a syncing up, synchronization that's happening, and it's allowing for all of this new energy to kind of flow through. And so we'll help ourselves have a more kind of easeful experience of it if we allow ourselves to allow that energy to pour in. And flow into us specifically. So I did this actually. I'm being reminded of the meditation I did over the weekend in the covenant membership space that I have. And it was specifically taking us through step by step through all the dimensional layers of the aura, an energetic connection to this new Maya. And I could literally feel like the waters rushing in as this kind of energetic block or synchronization occurred that allowed for these spiritual waters to flow. So if that's something that you feel like you want additional support in being able to do or to feel or experience, I highly recommend joining Covenant as a member and checking that out. Information for that is in the description box below. You can sign up and join anytime and leave anytime. It's just a monthly membership. Yeah, so it's a time of synchronization. So focus on that in your spiritual work of letting the energy flow through you. So it's a in particular, this is synchronization to receive a flow rather than project um, desires and intentions out. So just feel into that in particular. Like if you're trying to make something happen or trying to manifest at this time, that's not what this timing is called for. It's calling for a receiving. Now for elder, these two, hermit and 10 of cups. So this hermit card is actually reminding me of a message that was coming through, I believe, in that new Maya Oracle Talks video about um, the different yugas and the parts of the cycle that we're in. So we have the Cerberus Dark here representing, I would say, Kali Yuga. We are out of that and been out of that, and we are in Dwapara right now. But that this transition to Satya Yuga, which is the golden egg, if you will, here, that is being curated and guided by divine forces, galactic level forces, parent source, creator of our souls, through these stages. And we are, our light, the human soul light, is protected through this journey, through this process. So a reminder there about that. That transition out. So we're on the ascending cycle. And yeah, it's just this kind of collective energy of or process of that work. Meaning that everyone and everything is ascending as well, not just us. This is from an earth-based context, not necessarily non-earth-based. Earth-based meaning solar system-based, I should say, as well, actually. Because Earth doesn't exist outside of connection with the rest of the planets and the sun. Like we are part of a solar deity's body. That's a conversation for another day. Speaking of, though, Magnolia, we have the sun. You know what this feels like? This is giving me, inner sun alchemy vibes, like the literal inner sun or inner core star essence shining out. And the light that's coming out is impacting the collective consciousness, essentially the collective nature kingdoms that make up who we are as well, are benefiting from the light that is shining through. or able to be expressed through us. Because one of the things that happens with receiving this flow and this ascending consciousness is, again, everybody gets to have um, new and greater experiences. So it's not just us, it's also communal, it's collective consciousness ascending. So it's both within our bodies as well as we're connected to with the rest of the nature kingdoms. You can see around the edges of this, like those represent the zodiac signs, but for me, they're giving me the vibe of the collective consciousnesses or components that make up the human soul. It's this rainbow around the human soul expression. And so again, everybody benefits because everybody's connected. Again, earth-based, everybody connected to us. Okay, and then real quick, let me get these last messages before I run out of battery. Any questions real quick before I bounce? Is there going to be any additional insights on embodiment? Okay, so from the ash tree, in terms of insights for embodiment and of this process of where we are now and what we're growing into, the sun. Literally get outside, be out in the sun, get the sun on your skin at least 45 minutes or longer. In particular, if you are in the warmer hemispheres or the northern hemisphere, that'll be easier for you because it's warm outside. But that will help considerably. So that's from the ash tree. For from the elder tree, we have 4 of wands, 2 of pentacles, and the Hierophant. No question, only love. Oh, thank you. And thank you for the orange hearts. It's one of my favorite colors. Thank you for the channeling. You're welcome. So keep the focus on yourself and your own energy field, and only the things that you need to be actually concerned about is 2 of pentacles. The focus is actually more insular, so you don't need to be worrying about all the things or thinking too far ahead. You know what your desires are. They are what they've always been. So present circumstances are irrelevant. Stay committed to your desires, and they will unfold. They will flow. As soon as the UK has some sun, I'll be in it, right? I'm watching my battery. I want to get these last messages out. You're welcome. I was scared to use orange. Yeah. Orange is a really happy color. So I love it. Orange and pink I love. But yeah, orange in particular is like my favorite. I think there's something else for this. Hold on. Please, battery, hold on for me. Oh, keep the focus on the body. So use as much of your energy physically as you can each day so that you are sufficiently tired at night and your body can fully receive and integrate what's coming through. And then lastly, for Magnolia, before I get kicked off, 7 of Cups, King of Cups, and the World card. again, there are a lot of options that are presenting. They are illusion. They are false. As Elder said, there only have been, one or two, at most, maybe three desires that you have. Don't get caught up in this. This isn't the focus. Like all of this kind of chaos is what's being purged. Or it just could be a perception of all those possibilities that are showing up, but it doesn't mean that it's something that you need to take advantage of. So don't get that with that. Trust your intuition, your emotional intelligence, trust what is a flow. So creativity and emotional expression are important. If you feel the need to cry or be happy or mad or whatever, let that come up. Be honest about it. Let it flow. Don't let those emotions get stuck. That will help you considerably. If you start feeling frustrated and all over the place, it means that emotionally you are off. You need to do this work and not allow emotions to pull you off of what you know to be right and true. The world card is saying you are protected. That in particular, I'm getting with this in terms of this last messages on insights for where we are now. A lot of this feels like it's more non-physical support that is there to help you. In addition to like the physical things, but the physical things are like things that are in your control, being outside, physical exercise, whereas the additional support is non-physical. So that kind of more, the more that you need is spiritual support from your spiritual family and team, which is probably why a lot of those messages have been coming through the way they've been recently. All right, so I just got an alert on my laptop. Perfect timing. I'm going to bounce. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate any and all donations. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe. And God willing, I will see you next time. Bye.